when men were in charge, didn't they still make laws to protect women?
What do you mean? Like what kind of?
I mean, obviously, you know, we have laws against sexual violence against women.
Domestic violence.
Barely.
We do.
Hey guys, you're tuned into the Mr. and Mrs. Goodbread Show. I am your host, Mr. Goodbread. And as you see from the intro, guys, today we take it to the streets as we switch on over to my guy, It's Complicated, where he asks some of the greatest questions that ever was asked to women and men. You know what I mean? Over here now, we get to see the chart, the things that I tell you on the chart, because remember, guys, all women are not the same, but they do fit a mold and they do fit a structure. And female nature is the same. You know what I mean? That God created the nature, and the nature is predictable. You know what I mean? So, guys, keep in mind when you're watching this video, you just want to look for the ones that's 29% minded, and then you want to look for the ones that's 71% minded. All right? And that way you'll get it. You'll gauge kind of what I'll be telling you with the chart. Remember, guys, you see our chart? You know what I mean? You want to kind of, you know what I mean? When we watch these Taking It to the Streets videos, you want to kind of see how the person is thinking, because how they thinking is how they going to speak, and you want to match it to which one of the five is she, if she's even on here, because it could be a 29% female. You'll notice the 29% females by the way they give their answers too. You know what I mean? Their answer is going to be a little bit more humane and a little bit more fair than the 71% women. You know what I mean? You got to remember, guys, 71% women are the Liliths. Those are the women that believe in the feminism. They believe that they have not been given credit. And then you gotta remember, there's 29% of women that are Eves, and they'll own up to their own shit. And I mean, they bite the apple, they'll own up to it, and they'll move on. And it's all about moving forward, and they just here to help. And if they can help, they'll help, and if not, they'll leave you alone. They ain't even on it like that. And I mean, they're not trying to find an advantage. So that's what we're going to be looking for. Also, guys, let's keep in mind, remember, we don't cater to no gang groups, communities, none of that. None of them ideologies do we cater to over here. Now is the time to hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, then that's great. Hit the like button. Everybody should hit the like button now, and that's good for the YouTube algorithms. But also, guys, keep in mind, when we watch these videos, he also asks questions to the guys. So you want to see the guys that are male gynocrats, beta males, hell of a sons, and then you want to see the guys' answers that are alpha. You know what I mean? And you'll see the difference in the answers. Like I said, same thing as with the woman. So check out this intro, and when we come back, we get straight to it.
Why is it that a woman's love is more likely something that needs to be earned through courtship than a man's love?
Why is it that a man, like, what?
In other words, like why is it? Why don't women court men? Why does society set things up that way? That men are expected to court women in order to earn her love?
But on the other side of the spectrum here, I'm just gonna say, like, that just goes back to the patriarchy real quick, because, like, I don't know, like, women, yes, we're not, like, that is societal standards. Things are changing now as, like, women get more rights and, like, feminism, and we start to progress in the world. However, like, with that social standard with men, there's also a lot of privileges that come with that. So it's like, it could be switched up, it could be the other way around, but then you have to also accept the other privileges on the other end of that. Like, that's just how our society is set up right now. It's not right, but what's to say the other way is right either?
I feel like, honestly, it's on the person. Like, you shouldn't have to earn no one's love. You should go into something loving yourself first. And, you know, like, if you make each other happy, cool. You should accept each other for who they are and, you know, what it is. And if you're doing everything you can to make somebody happy and it's not working, then, you know, you don't have to accept that and settle. You could just do your thing. If that's not the type of love that you're into, then, you know, sorry, excuse my language, but fuck it, sorry.
I mean, men don't always have to be, like, it's not so much like that anymore, where it's men always being the aggressors in the relationship.
Right.
I guess it's like I think also women again don't feel that comfortable going up in being an aggressor in the relationship, and a lot of times men don't really want that whole courtship experience. A lot of men are very visually.
Okay, guys, before I break this part down real quick, if you think the woman that's talking, doing the majority of the talking, is a 29% female, put a 29 in the comment section, all right? But I'm gonna say she's doing a lot of accountability dodgeball, you know what I mean? Because the question was a simple question, you know what I mean? And there is no privileges that a man get either way, you know what I mean? Because you see, this goes back to what I tell you, how the woman in the gynocracy, in this culture, in this environment that we live in, all of us live in, you know what I mean? They value their coochie, they value their vajayjay as high go, because what is the privilege? It's no privilege. And I bet you she's talking about the privilege. If the woman was to cater to the man, then the woman will want sex at some point. The woman is gonna want sex. So you know what I mean? It's no privilege. It very D and P always will equal out. It evens out, guys.
Focused.
Why are women the stronger sex when it comes to birthing children, but conveniently the weaker sex when it comes to risking rejection, needing sympathy and validation, killing spiders, opening jars, lifting heavy objects, and fighting wars?
I wouldn't say necessarily that second part is true. I think that's kind of the stereotype that we've given women, and I also feel like living in a patriarchal society, I feel like that's just how it's worked. But I wouldn't say that one outweighs the other.
Yeah. Same answer. Two different concepts, two different ways of human behavior, and I think it's a really small thing and a really big thing to convey.
Well, yeah, but do you think that women want equality when it's convenient, but are happy to revert to traditional gender roles when it's not?
Wouldn't anybody do that? Isn't that like a normal human behavior?
Well, right, but just because you can take candy from a baby, does that make it right?
No, but I think humans don't always work on right and wrong.
This is why I love taking it to the streets and letting you guys hear it from another person's mouth and another person's perspective, so that my opinions don't always have to be my opinions. You can clearly see this is the privilege that we talk about in the gynocracy. That's that privilege where P always equals more than D, and that's not like that. That's not the case. That's not true. God gave us equal tools. One can't work without the other, so one don't make one more important. Just because you have a boatload of thirsty men that'll do anything for it, don't mean that you have, you know what I mean, you have to overrank it, overvalue it on a whole scale.
What is patriarchy, and why do so many women complain about it?
Well, can you please define patriarchy?
Okay. Would you agree that patriarchy is defined as a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think women complain about it because it's prevalent and real in our society, and it's, women face that every day.
The patriarchy is the systematic and societal favoritism to masculine traits rather than feminine traits. So I personally am bothered by the patriarchy because in society, and it's not even just something that women should be upset about, men should be upset about it as well, because it prevents them from fully being their best selves as well. Because that's why so many men, when it's like, oh, like, men can't wear dresses, they can't do all that, they can't do things that are considered feminine.
And I'm gonna go on and say it, guys. I think this female right here is 29%, but she's spacey. She's spacey. This is a spacey female. This is one of those 29% real spacey, very, very blue pill. She is very, very blue pill. You know what I mean? So she's going off of everything she heard on the news, everything her mom's taught her. You know what I mean? She's not aloof, but she's not damaging. Do you guys get that? That's the difference between a 71% female and a 29% female. Like, if you're a fool and you stumble over a 29% female, you'll end up damaging yourself. She won't do the damage to you. You'll damage yourself. But, you know what I mean, 71% women, they damaging. They're looking to damage you. You get that, guys? You see how innocent she sound? She sound like she don't know no better. She just don't know. She's living her own, what she wanted to be. But when she look outside, you got to see what's outside. Don't no man want to be cool with anything feminine. Don't no man want to be associated, no real man want to be associated with women to dress. We don't get mad about not having a female's privilege. We don't want equality because we don't feel anything a female do is for us. So she has it kind of backwards. And this be the feminist fight right here, guys. This be the feminist fight. You know what I mean?
Or at least that's what society tells us, because it would be emasculating to them, and they have to maintain the sense of masculinity. But on the other end of the spectrum, women, when they want to pursue more masculine things, it affects both genders as much, both sexes, I would say. Both sexes as much as it, does women. Men get affected as much. It's just not as talked about. But I personally am bothered by it because I feel it's hard for me to be seen as respected in the world because of my femininity.
I think patriarchy is when men just kind of dominate things, and I think it's interesting that women complain about it but also want to stay at home.
Not
because
all women.
I have a career, I'm 24 years old, I'm an engineer, I live on my own, but I'm also I kind of just want to be a stay-at-home mom at some point.
Hey guys, now it's getting good. Two things I want to touch on, right? This is a great conversation to ask, and especially because we have two of our white girls, you know what I mean? So it's a great question to ask two of our white girls about the patriarch, because the patriarch was designed and built for them, you know what I mean? Never was designed and built for us. We didn't have nothing to do with building the patriarchy. Other than the physical labor and building it, you know what I mean? But as far as controlling it and putting it together, you know what I mean? As African Americans, we didn't have a handle on that. But our African American sisters, they'll fight tooth and nail for somebody else's structure, or they'll blame us for the fact that they're placed in this system. So this is gonna be interesting. And guys, clearly you see that we got a 29% woman in the house. Yeah, we got a 29% woman in the house. And this is the females that you guys should be going for. Look at them two together. Look at them two back to back. You guys are gonna go for the bells and whistles. Y'all gonna go for the other one just cause. And look, remember I told you guys you could look in a female eyes and tell she's no good for you. Look in both of these females' eyes, and you tell me which one is 71, Lilith, and which one is 29, Eve. And then, and stop me when I have been wrong. I have not lied to you guys yet. This is how you read. All right, guys.
Chill out, but I'm not. But I can't. It would be so hypocritical of me if I was like, oh, men shouldn't go out in the workforce and go be a career person. I think everyone has equal.
That would be like the opposite of patriarchy, and I think the point is not to do the opposite. The point is for it to be equal, and the reason why women complain about the patriarchy is because it's prevalent in our society, and women
How is it prevalent? What is it? What does it do?
What gender have every single one of our presidents been?
Yes.
That's the patriarchy.
Okay, but let me ask you this about that, right? Do you think that the only qualification to be president should be just being a woman?
So actually, my mom and I was
I think because men are viewed as leaders and power figures based on our society setup is why people are more likely to vote for men, because.
Okay, so now that we figured out who's the 29 and who's the 71, do you peep how the 71% female just dominates the conversation, just so quick to just dominate? And is it that she's just that dominant, or is it that the 29% women are just that passive? You know what I mean? They got some bite in them, so you're not gonna push the 29% women over. But at the end of the day, they still gonna let you be like, all right, at the end of the day, they got some, you know what, since you want it that bad, go ahead. They always have that in them. You know what I mean? Pay attention to those women, guys, because those are the women that you can build something with. You know what I mean? The 29% females. Now, Miss 71, peep how she swerm and worm her way out of question. Watch how she plays the dodgeball accountability. Watch. Accountability dodgeball. Watch.
If you look at interviews, even some women are like, because women shouldn't be leaders, they're too emotional. That's because society has set it up
I've
that
never
way.
once
And
ever
men
said
are viewed
that
as
about any
leaders.
woman.
That's why the vast majority of men are all of the business leaders, the presidents, they're everything.
I've never
They're
once
always
said
at
that-
the top.
I've never once said that about any woman we Second of all, my mom and I were just having this conversation because she's writing a book about, successful lead like a woman. And we were just talking about how when you get into the workforce, that this generation does have more women. We just haven't had the time to where we're in those positions yet.
Right,
and
and
I bet in 20 or 30... But as a society, if you look at it, we're changing. You just have to give it that time, because back in the day, and actually, speaking of, okay,
And it's changing because women
everyone-
are complaining about the patriarchy.
So when men all went off to war, all of the women worked, made all the money, got all the bacon, and then there wasn't that many men in the workforce because they all kind of died because of the war or things. And then when they came back, the women, I forget, someone explained this to me.
All right, little mama, I explain it for you. Pretty much what she's trying to say. And all this goes to show you is how it's a lot of women running around here that don't really know their history. They going off of what they heard and the mood. They're going off of the mood and the trend. You know what I mean? They don't really know the history. And some of them, if they put their history, if they go back and learn the history, they'll probably feel bad and start to do things that'll actually put them in a more successful light instead of trying this reaching for the privilege thing. But absolutely, mama, what she's saying is the patriarch is set up this way because men went off to war to provide and fight, you know what I mean? And women, when we went off and when the men went off, it was no guarantee for the men to come back from the war. And as some did, a lot of men died off in the war. You got to understand, guys, this is why it's a whole lot more women to men. The women to men ratio is big. You know what I mean? It's a lot more women on this world, on this earth, than it is men. And partly that is due to the wars. You know what I mean? Now, we're not at war as much as we used to be, you know what I mean? But the laws ain't never changed. So women actually volunteered themselves to go back into this patriarchy that the men who set up went to war and died. So now the women have a chance to continue the matriarch, but they chose to go back to the patriarch. You know what I mean? Submissively too. Like I tell you guys, it wasn't always like this. You know what I mean? Back then, 80% was the alpha males, and it was 20% beta males. 29% was the Liliths, while it was 71% traditional women. Alright, guys? So we're going to continue this because this one is going to be long, but I'm going to make this a part 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed, but definitely be looking for that part 2. You should hit the subscription button. And if you already subscribed, check to make sure you hit the bell so that you get the notifications for when we drop part 2. All right, guys? It's been real, and I appreciate you.
But it was pretty much like our choice of going back. Like, we were doing just fine running everything.
So you're saying bringing home the bacon versus making the babies kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't that kind of like, you know...
Historically, yeah.
Historically, okay, so then isn't patriarchy just the natural evolution of men and women just giving into their expected role?